Metal Gear Solid 4 Integral Podcast. Broadcasted from Konami HQ in downtown Tokyo, it's the world-renowned Metal Gear Solid 4 Integral Podcast.
All right, welcome to episode number 9 of the MGS4 Integral Podcast. My name is Sean Eystone, and as always, I'm here with Aki Saito.
Hi, everyone.
And producer Ken Imaizumi.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, Sean, we're in the latter half of Shadow Moses.
Right, so we are in the Shadow Moses Nuclear Warhead Storage Building, first floor. So at the beginning of the show, this time, we'd like to try something a little bit different.
Okay.
I think I'd like to just ask everybody what everyone's favorite drama scene in Metal Gear Solid 4.
That's a tough one. Sean, do you have already one?
For me, yeah, there's a lot. There's so much drama in the game that it's hard to choose just one. And this is a spoiler, by the way, so anyone listening, if you don't want spoilers, just turn it off now. But I think for me personally, it's that scene at the end where Big Boss makes his appearance. That just really got it for me. As a Metal Gear Solid fan, seeing Big Boss come back, and then that last scene, where he's smoking his last smoke and nods off in the grave. That nails it for me. A really great scene.
Well, for me, the part I liked, which I cracked up for about 5 minutes, was the part when Liquid seems to die, battling with the Metal Gears. The famous, the boss battle scene. You get to ride the Metal Gear.
Right.
He rides his Metal Gear and things like that. And then he seems to die. And he say, in the English version, I think he says, think again. When he, in that crucial moment. But in Japanese, it was a little bit more hilarious.
Yeah.
So one of the famous line.
Yeah.
The fox died.
Yeah, fox died. Janai. Janai means not, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the original translation, I saw the script, was not, actually.
Not, yeah.
Fox die. Not.
Right.
But this was a little not so funny, so I think a lot of people changed it.
Yeah,
to think again.
Yeah, not was little classic. I mean, little old, like Wayne's World.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
type, like in 1980.
like in the
1990s,
you'd say something, then there's that kind of gag. I guess it felt a little bit
And then
old.
it went to, I think, if I can remember it correctly, just kidding, or something like that. It went to several phrases during the translation.
Right.
Anyways, that scene, and after he gets up, he kind of runs really in a cute style, like a girly way.
Right.
Like almost jumping.
Jumping and skipping
Yeah,
and laughing.
And that really, I cracked up. That's one of my favorite cutscenes. Ken?
We had a really hard time to do motion capture with Raiden part. So when he fight versus Vamp, the South American part.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, with the geckos, right?
Yeah, with the gecko.
Yeah.
That part. When we are doing the motion capture. Raiden guy, he was trying to do like a break dance kind of, turn.
Yeah.
And we use a wire and stuff. We spent so much time to do the motion capture because we failed so many times, and and the motion team worked really hard, and then finally finished those whole sequence. And it was so decent.
Yeah, well, that was, I think it's safe to say that was one of the most stunning cutscenes.
I remember that was like the turning point when Raiden became cool.
Yeah. Did you know the part Sean's most favorite cutscene? The big boss.
Yeah, the ending.
Yeah. That motion capture session was the very last part of the session. The guy who did a big boss, he was the Snake voice.
Mr. Otsuka's?
Yeah, Mr. Otsuka's, first the motion capture trial. He kept on saying like he wanted to do the motion capturing, and then Hideo said, that's okay, let's do that. And then he joined, and he had to do a big boss part.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, the voiceover was done by Mr. Otsuka's father, right?
Yeah.
So
one of the famous voice
actors in Japan.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
So the motion capture was done by Mr. Otsuka, Aki Otsuka, who does the voice for like in a sense, or he's very famous in Japan. But he did the motion capture, and then his father did the voiceover, looking at his son's motion capture.
Oh, that's really cool.
Isn't it cool?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone, thanks for listening to our chat. I think Sean's really revved up to introduce the latter half of Shadow Moses. Shall we give it a go, Sean?
Yep. So everybody should be at the nuclear warhead storage building, first floor. You just crawled in from under the shutter, and we're at our checkpoint, start of the stage. First thing I want to point out is that, as with the previous stages in Shadow Moses and with almost all the stages in Shadow Moses, the item placement in this stage is pretty accurate and, follows a lot of the item placement from the first game. So, people may remember to the left here, if you go towards that window, you can get a ration at the end of that. Just something for people who play the original Metal Gear, something for them to keep an eye out for. Maybe they might get a kick out of seeing items in the same spot. But anyway, let's just go ahead, proceed down this slope, and head into the building.
Okay, let's walk up. I've been saying many times, but I hate this stage. I mean, this for me is was the most difficult stages ever.
Really?
Yeah, for me, I really had a hard time.
Sean's gonna cry.
Yeah.
I know. We talked about this before.
Yeah, he spent such a long time. Yeah, to create this stage.
So we just crawled under the
gate. I mean, what do you call?
The first
shutter.
door, the first shutter.
Right. And so we're in this area, that people will probably recognize from Metal Gear Solid 1, where there's the nuclear warheads in the hangar. First thing I want to point out is if you go ahead and put in your solid eye and look at the ground, you'll see that Vamp's footprints, Vamp and Nomi's footprints are here as well. They were in the previous stage. We really wanted to just get the personality behind Vamp and Nomi into these footprints. So you'll see that they don't just, head straight on through to the back. They kind of wander around. Nomi takes a slightly curvy path, takes a look inside of the truck, things like that. And one thing, at the end of the first Moses stage, when you're in the corridor with the lasers, if you use your solid eye there and look at the ground, you can see Vamp's footprints there. And there's actually some pretty funny footprints there because he's kind of dancing around. And you can see crossed footprints. He's kind of doing that dance that he does, Other than that, what I really want to point out in this stage is that there's a lot of detail here that wasn't here in previous Metal Gears, but finally the team was able to get this looking exactly the way they want to look.
Yeah, high def.
High def, and a lot of detail, glare on the floor.
I mean, but it's really interesting I think most of the users realize that there's not a big change, although technically there's a lot of big change. But I kind of, when I first stepped into Shadow Moses, I thought it was like just doing MGS1 again.
Right.
But come to think of it, yes, it's all, like a blocked up, MGS1 because of the power of PlayStation. It's all like blocked and things like that. It's not as accurate and well drawn as this, but you get the feeling that it's the same stage. So it's really, I don't know, people really get used to these high-tech things.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of funny, you talk about, really the blocked-up look from Metal Gear Solid 1, but, talking to the staff that actually worked on Metal Gear Solid 1, there's a reason for why these missiles are covered up with tarps, and that's actually so that they could cut down the polygon count in the original game. They wanted to have just, a whole bunch of missiles in this room, but, they couldn't put it all in there, so they decided to put tarps over some of the crates, hide half of the missile under a tarp so they could kind of trim back the polygon count. And in addition, if you look at the windows around this room, now if you look at them, you can see that there's missiles on the other side of those windows. So there's other hangars with a lot more missiles in them. But of course, with the original Metal Gear, that wasn't really an option. So now, this is finally able to come through the way Hideo Kojima really wanted it.
Well, thanks, PlayStation.
Yeah, thank you,
Sony Computer.
But anyways, let's go on. So we're looking at the rockets.
So head to the north,
straight
to the rear,
straight
to
up.
the rear of the hangar, and you'll get to the gate. So let's just head over there. On the way, there's a truck on your left. If you want to crawl in there, you can get a FIM 92A. Just move on, and when you get to the end, to this control panel, you'll get a call from Otacon. So he'll tell you the door's locked, you got a password, and then he'll activate the elevator for you. So let's just head straight to the elevator and head on down, because there's a lot of cool stuff down there.
Okay. So we climb up the catwalk.
Right, climb up the catwalk, head to the second floor, and then just go around, follow the catwalk until you get to the elevator. And one thing, this is going way back during the concept planning stages for the stage. Originally, the stage was more of an action-oriented stage. One of the ideas was that you could actually take the elevator down to the bottom.
Really?
And access a secret base, things like that. But, in the end, we decided we really want to emphasize more of the nostalgic aspect of Moses. Okay, so let's go ahead and call the elevator. There's something about this also. People who played the original Metal Gear, I remember that if you rapidly press the elevator button, the elevator actually will come faster.
Oh,
So that's preserved in here also. If we wanted to have that in there for the fans. In real life, because that's what you do, right? All the time. You're in a rush, you're like pressing it. You want it to come quickly.
But the elevator
It never comes.
No.
Yeah. In this game, you can do it, and it will come a little bit faster.
Okay, so we head to which floor?
B2.
You head down to B2.
Uh-huh. This elevator.
Well, Metal Gear Solid 1, when you ride and then change the floor, and then when they're showing that, moving the floor to floor, they're loading behind
In the background?
Like in the background.
Yeah. But this time, the PlayStation 3 is so powerful, so much memory, so we don't have to do that download in the background.
This time you can get on the elevator and walk around and shoot.
While you're in the elevator. You can do whatever you want.
That's why in MGS1 you couldn't do anything. And once you're in the elevator.